Alright, this will be a timed scene. I'm gonna write a scene. Saw this on Vanity Fair? Yeah, Vanity Fair, where a writer came in and wrote a scene in 7 minutes with, I believe, 2 characters and then something, other parameters. And then she got notes halfway through. I'm not gonna do the notes thing just because, like, I have no one to generate them for me, but here's what I am gonna do. I'm gonna have randomly generated names. The number of names is gonna be based on a dice roll, so that's random as well. The amount is random, and then the names themselves are random. Okay, and then I'm gonna use randomly generated words, which is also gonna be a dice roll, so 1 through 6 words that'll be incorporated into the scene, and then one randomly generated weird word, which is in this realm of the random thing generator. I don't really know what weird means. It probably means something that's not commonly used. Why is my hat like crooked? But alright, so we're gonna start with the dice roll for the amount of names. I'm not gonna set a timer, I'm just gonna set a stopwatch so you can see, like, I'm doing this all in one sitting and I'm not like taking an hour to think about it. So I'm gonna start it right now, do a dice roll. Alright, so one person, then we're going to generate their name. Joanne Ibarra. And then we're going to dice roll for the amount of words. 2 words, alright. So this is pretty easy so far. 2 random noun generator. Yeah, let's actually change this to random nouns because it could just be like the and that doesn't really help anything. So 2 random nouns, so we'll do dirt and volume. Okay, oh, this is going to be super interesting. Volume and dirt. And then one weird word, so go to weird word generator, boom, Ferity. And it means state of savagery or barbarism. Oh, and then generate the age. And then we'll do a number between 1 and 100, and it's 63, so she's kind of old. Alright, so our first scene, one person, Joanne Ibarra, 63, age 63, 2 nouns that we have to use, dirt and volume, and then one word, Ferity, which is state of savagery or barbarism. Alright, so first thing I think of is like Joanne Ibarra. Alright, the first thing I think of with dirt, volume, and Ferity, state of savagery or barbarism, is like this person, you know, the classic pouring rain, they're sledging through the dirt and they're dragging a sack that looks like a body behind them, and then they got a shovel and then they're digging, stuffing the body in. Joanne Ibarra, is she the one in the bag? Is she the one doing it? What is more interesting than a rainy burying of a body? I mean, it's infinitely more interesting if Joanne is the one carrying it because we can't flesh out who a dead person is unless you do flashbacks, but this is just one scene, so it's not gonna have flashbacks, it's just one scene. So 63-year-old woman. So what's the opposite of in the middle of the woods dragging a body through the rain? It's during the day in a busy crowded street. To be honest, it's kind of difficult if it's just one person. Like, I could do a short story on this because of our internal monologue, but I mean, stuff we can do with this is like one person sees. There can be like inklings of other people in her life, right? So she can have phone calls. There's letters, but reading is one of the most boring ways to give information in film. So you don't want someone reading off a letter for like 30 or a minute or 30 seconds because why do that when you could have another avenue of information? Or we could just not have her be. I wanted to still have her carrying a dead body through like this open. I kind of like the idea of her like just carrying this body through a busy street and her just like, oh my god, what do I do? I don't know really how she would do that inconspicuously. Maybe it's not inconspicuous and that's the point. But we could also just move away from this whole body because it doesn't really have to be right. It just has to there just has to be dirt, volume, and then the state of savagery or barbarism. So does she want to eat people? Is it like a Hannibal Lecter type of person? I kind of like this, but another idea we could do is volume. I was thinking of dirt and volume like kind of together, like volume as a type of measurement, and then we could have that like, oh, she was measuring the amount of dirt needed to dig out in order to bury the body. But maybe for our next one I should do a dice roll for the weird words too, because honestly just one person, two nouns, and then one weird word isn't a lot. Alright, so I'm gonna lap here when we start writing, so I actually know how long I took writing the scene. And let's start. Well, it actually took me a lot longer than I thought. 28, almost 29 minutes. I did do a lot of thinking, and it is about like, it's 4 full pages, so let's get into it. Alright, exterior Montgomery Cemetery day. Joanne stands outside what looks like a ticket counter in front of a cemetery. I put the ellipses there because it's like a weird, it's like, and it gives, you don't want to write what the director's going to do, right, in terms of camera movement, but in my mind it was like she's at a ticket counter and then it seems normal, but then you pan left and then it's like, oh, it's in the middle of the cemetery. That's kind of weird. And then the counter is simply a stone box with a low window. That could be, you know, whatever. That's just to add to the kind of creepy feeling, like why would there be a ticket counter and then why would it not have like a window where you can see the other person? Joanne slides money into the window, an unusually large amount. Also weird, a gaunt, sinewy hand reaches out and brings the money into the stone box. Joanne waits. She nervously looks around. Then the hand extends back out, holding a piece of paper. She takes it, turns it over. It's a note with a template. The words are typed, but the name is scrawled lazily on a dotted line. It reads, "Thank you for your purchase. Please, go find your assignment, and, whatever you do, do not disrupt the other inhabitants. Your assignment is Jeremiah Kings." So this was just my way of incorporating other stuff and only having Joanne actually in the scene, right? She's the only actual person in the scene. Having dead people doesn't count. Or having other names doesn't count. This probably could be shortened up. So having the note be like a template and then the words scrawled lazily gives you the idea that this is like an establishment that does this kind of thing, and she came here for a specific reason, right? She knows what she's getting. If they do it, this is like their job, or this is like their business, is giving these assignments. We don't know what the assignment is, but it's like this is what happens. So Joanne slips a note into her pocket. "Thank you." She turns away, then she doubles back. "How will I know where this person is? How will I know where to find this person?" She waits, but nothing comes from the stone box. She turns away and faces the daunting cemetery. Rows and rows of tombstones stretch into the horizon. She starts walking, her purse clutched to her chest. She inspects every tombstone, one by one. Why couldn't these be in alphabetical order? And no, Joanne, that wouldn't make any sense. Shoot. I've thought about, like, oh, she figures out they're in alphabetical order, but then I thought, oh, that doesn't make sense. Why would it be in alphabetical order? Because I was gonna write it, the scene where I didn't want to write it so that she was like meandering through the tombstones and then like moments later she's still looking, because that's what it would be like, because I said it's like rows and rows of tombstones, and then it can't be alphabetical because that doesn't make sense. Like if one person comes in, how are you gonna fit them in between like a K and an L if their name is a K and an M if their name is L, right? So I just made her say that because I was like, oh, that doesn't make sense, and then I'll just make her say that. So she's walking with her purse clutched to her chest. She says thank you. She's asking how I find this. So in this beginning, we believe that she's like a nice person, right? She isn't rude. She isn't like headstrong. She's not going in there guns ablazing metaphorically. Alright, so she passes by large tombstones and small ones. This isn't even. She passes by large tombstones and small ones. Some have flowers, some with heart re-singing. Joanne is always careful to respectfully step around the flowers. So this is another action description showing that who she is, right? So you want to not, you don't want to say, oh, Joanne is being respectful, right? Because what does that mean? But this is basically saying that Joanne is being respectful and saying who she is. She's the kind of person who is like clutching, she's nervous about being in the cemetery, she's clutching the purse to her chest, and she's also very respectful. She's stepping around the flowers. Alright, and then she finally reaches a tombstone that reads Poppy Kings. She looks to the left of it, Lawrence Kings. She follows the tombstones down the line. The Kings seem to be a prosperous bunch. Prosperous probably isn't the right word. Alright, whatever. Joanne finally reaches it. She takes out the note, reaches her assignment. Wait, I shouldn't change it. Alright. She finally reaches it. I should have written her assignment, but I'm not going to change anything just because the timer's done. She takes out the note just to check it once more. It's correct, Jeremiah Kings. She crumples it and clutches it to her chest. This is a little redundant. She's clutching the purse to her chest. Now she's clutching the note to her chest, but I wanted it to be like, I wanted her to have this close to her when she's thinking about what she's going to do. Alright, she stares at this tombstone, hesitating. She turns away, then comes back, then turns away. She doesn't know what she wants to do. This is wasting a lot of lines, but honestly, I kind of like doing this because it makes the reader know that you're emphasizing this point where she's like, okay, she's at her assignment, but does she still want to go through with whatever it is? Does she want to turn away? She can easily turn away. Okay, I pretty much just said what this means, but okay, I'd probably get rid of this sentence because, again, this doesn't tell, like, the director won't know what to do with this, right? This tells that she's uneasy, so you don't really need this line. Joanne fishes her cell phone from her pocket and goes to her messages. There are 3 from herself. She clicks the first. Message Joanne, voiceover. I know I'm not going to have the guts to do it when I'm there, so I guess I'm making this to tell my future self to go for it. Right now, I want it more than anything, and I've been wanting it. We've been needing it for a while now. We have to do this, or else the feeling will never go away. The message ends with a beep. Joanne sighs. So I wanted the 3 messages to sort of like ramp up, and the first message is like, okay, well, this is the normal Joanne, this is the person we've been seeing, and she's kind of alluding to something, we need something, right? But it's pretty much the same Joanne that we saw, clutching her chest, being nervous, and then stepping over flowers, being respectful. Message ends with a beep. She sighs. She walks back and stands in front of Jeremiah's tombstone. She leans down, clicks the second message. Right, so now she's closer to the tombstone. She walked back to her assignment because her future self was like, or her past self was like, okay, we need this. Message ends with, okay. Another thing, I can't get caught up in the names. I know they are people, but they are dead people. They don't have lives to ruin. They don't have people who count on them. They are nothing. When someone is dead, they are nothing. So it's kind of weird, but this is directly adjacent to her leaning down next to the tombstone, looking at the name, and then her message says, the name doesn't mean anything. Don't get caught up in the names. The message ends with a beep. Joanne, seemingly more uneasy than before, shoves the phone back into her purse. She stands up and looks below the tombstone where the body is buried. She shuffles the dirt with her feet, as if trying to see how far down the body really is. Joanne huffs and looks back at the entrance. She can just leave. She takes out her phone again. One more message. I kind of like this, like, visual of this lady kind of standing in front of a tombstone and barely like shifting around the dirt with like her black high heels. I really like that picture. Right, she takes out her phone again. One more message. Damn it, Joanne. If you haven't done it by now, then you never will. You have to do this. You'll die without it. You'll go crazy. I need this. I need it so bad right now. You know how this feels. Remember me right now. Remember how I feel. Her voice starts to get angry and aggressive. Don't take this away from us. You may not be hungry at this particular moment, but it will come back. You know this because I feel it right now, and you felt it many times before. I need this. Do it. We won't feel like this anymore. Do it. Aren't you hungry? Her stomach grumbles. Aren't you hungry? Joanne flinches, not remembering herself screaming into the phone. Do it! Leave nothing behind. The message ends with a beep. She falls to her knees. The world spins around her. She clutches her stomach. So this is why she's here. And the last message finally gives us an insight to this like alter ego she may be doing, and her personality that we've seen and then the setting she's in doesn't really match until now, because she's like a super right, like I said before, she's peaceful, respectful, and then she's in this weird cemetery where she has to buy her way in, and then she gets an assignment to a dead person. Like, that's weird, and those two don't match until we get this message, the last message, where she's becoming frantic and loud. So she falls to her knees, the world spins around her, she clutches her stomach, her fingers clench the dirt, she wheezes. She starts clawing at it. Soon her hands are submerged, dirt flying everywhere. The sound of dirt falling on paper catches her attention. She grabs the note on the floor and puts it in her mouth, and as she chews, she digs. She screams maniacally with Ferity. There's the weird word, Ferity, which it's so weird that Celtex doesn't even know that is a word. Her heart is beating. It beats louder. The whole top of her body is now deep in a hole. She comes up and smiles, her frantic nature subsiding, but the heartbeats are louder, faster. She finally swallows the piece of paper. Her heart beats uncontrollably. Joanne reaches in and pulls up an arm. However, the rest of the body is still buried. It doesn't come out far. Frustrated, she tugs. She screams and tugs and cries. Then it detaches. She is sent flying back into the pile of dirt behind her. She pants. Her heart beats. She holds the hand up to her face. She smells. She smiles. She licks. Okay, so obviously short sentences, making them one line, increases the timing of the situation. It tells the reader that this is a point we should be focusing on. It's super intense. We finally see why she's there. She's come to fulfill this desire that she's had, this hunger. And we finally figure out why she's been assigned to this place, what the message is talking about, and what she's been feeling. Although these are two starkly different Joannes, as from the beginning as from the end, I feel like in this scene it kind of works, because who she is at the beginning is who she is, and then the hunger makes her who she is at the end. We don't know why the hunger's there, but obviously it's because it's just one scene. For the volume, I use the heartbeat at the end. I like the idea of her heartbeat beating super fast, getting louder, and then she finds something, she comes back, she's calm now, but her heart's still beating super fast, so she has finally found it, but she's still super frantic, she needs this. And then obviously the dirt, her shifting around with her shoe. Let me bring it up. So we had Joanne Ibarra. Oh, in my mind, actually she was younger. I should have put in that she was older. This honestly works with both. It works with her being like a nice old lady who's respectful as well, right? But when I was imagining it, she was not 63. I kind of forgot about that. And then dirt, volume for the heartbeat, dirt. I just love the picture of her in like black high heels moving the dirt around on top of the dead body, because it shows like, oh, she's curious about what's under there. She wants to get to what's under there, but she is like this cautious, peaceful human being who doesn't really want to do it. And then she digs him up with Ferity.